All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're watching from. All right, I tried this morning to go on live on our Facebook page, but the network was really bad, so I just had to do a video and then I'll be posting that later on in the day. Okay, and then you can as well check the YouTube channel, which is this platform, to know. So this morning, I thought of us doing something very different, something very interesting. All right, still related to fashion, of course, because that's what the page is all about. Okay, so I found some hacks and I want to share with us. So if you know any fashion designer, you know a fashionpreneur, you know even someone who just has the flair for fashion designing, who wants to learn, who is so keen, who is so interested in, oh, I want to be a fashion designer. Yes, this video is a must watch for such a person because it's going to boost your confidence. It's going to tell you, okay, yes, you're on the right track. It's going to tell you things you need to know, things you need to do, things you need to understand before you even go into this fashion designing skill. All right, so for this morning, like I said, we have some hacks we'll be sharing, but before then I'd like to throw more light on what the Omalyn signature platform is all about, or what the Omalyn Fashion Academy and Craft is all about. If you notice, some styles we post are mostly styles that are not too complicated. That's because we have special interest in the beginners. Okay, we want to be sure that you know your foundation is grounded. I have special vision for those who are just starting, those who just have the interest, like, oh, I want to learn. Because if you look at it, in everything you do in life generally, there's a faulty foundation cannot really hold any building. So it's just like that even in fashion designing. If your foundation is shaky, then there will be a lot of challenges you will encounter all along the way. Now, we're not saying even if your foundations are smooth or are firm that you're not going to be experiencing any form of challenge. No, that's not what we mean. We mean that if your foundation happens to be very solid, very okay, that the challenges you encounter will tend to be minimal. That when your foundations are shaky, complaints like, oh, I don't know, I've learned how to sew, but I have this fear that I cannot start cutting clothes for people. I have this fear I will damage the fabric. I have this fear, oh, the clothes may not turn out fine. All this has to do with how your foundation was. Where it was fear put inside of you. You know, sometimes you'll be sewing on the sewing machine and then something just goes off and your heart skips. I like, your heart skips. Oh no, your heart is not supposed to skip. It's just something that went wrong. Go down, check what went wrong, fix it, and you keep moving. That's a general principle to life. You keep moving. By the time your heart skips and you just get so cold and you sit down, you don't want to touch that machine again, I tell you, you will never move from that fear. It is so easy to catch the fear, but it's very difficult to let go of that fear. And that is why so many people, my students, they know me, the machine packs up, I tell you, okay, pick another machine. That's if there's another machine available. If there is none available, we fix it, and then you keep moving. You keep moving. By the time you understand all those things, you know, oh, it's just a fabric. Of course, you cut properly. Or I tell you, look, before you touch a fabric for a client or for yourself or whatever, why not try your hands out on paper? Why not try your hands out on a cheaper fabric? By the time you do all of this, when you pick up the real fabric you want to work with, then you don't have issues at all managing them. Okay, so these are the things that I try to do to make sure that your fears are overcome. You don't have this fear. You don't learn under me and then you come out telling me you're scared of cutting the cloth. Please cut that cloth. Cut it. It's meant to be cut. If you don't cut it, you cannot fix it back. It is said that gold become gold only after it has passed through fire. Okay, so that is that on the way how we want to like build the foundations of a fashion designer. By the time your foundations are wonderful, look, you go into any fashion tailoring shop and then you're doing exploits. No, it's because you have built your confidence and you know exactly what you're doing. All right, so when you build your confidence, that is one step. Like I said, get paper, work with a lot of paper, work with a lot of cheap fabrics, make clothes for people even for free. Yes, that's how you build this confidence. There are other things that you should be aware of. The kind of materials that you work with, those are very, very, very important. Okay, even if you have so much confidence and you continue working with the wrong set of materials, I tell you, it won't take so long and your confidence is crushed. All right, let's take for instance the types of needles that you need to use when you're working. If you don't know the right sizes of needle to use, of course it will kill your confidence. Imagine you being so confident climbing a sewing machine, and then you climb it. Yes, you're on that sewing machine, and suddenly the needle keeps breaking, it keeps breaking, and you're sure, I know how to sew, I know how to pedal this thing, I know how to fix the needle. You even fixed it correctly, and it keeps breaking. It gets to a point you get tired, like that confidence you have will be trashed. It will be trampled on. Okay, because you have confidence in one area, but you've not done your homework properly in one another area. There are needles you use for lightweight materials. There are needles used for average or medium weight materials. There are needles you use for heavy materials. There are even needles that are used for leather works and all of that. Okay, for stretchy fabrics like the lycra and the rest of them, there are special needles that are used for those ones as well. There are situations where you're using a needle and it is piercing holes in the fabrics and is not making the clothes. In that case, if you've done your homework properly, you know that that needle happens to be too big on that fabric. Then there are some that, of course, the needle keeps breaking because the needle is so tiny. And again, you're using the wrong needle for the wrong fabric, it will not give you the effect. There are some situations where the material starts puckering, it starts squeezing together while you sew. That's also because of a faulty needle. All right, so all those things you need to be aware of before you even begin. All these are foundation classes. They are part of the class things you need to know in your foundation class. When you're good with all this, I tell you, all you need to do, there's a new style in town, you just need to relax, try to figure it out, and before you know it, you are there. Okay, so after talking about the needle, you need to know the types of thread that you work with. We have the ones that have the green spool, we have the ones that have the blue spool, the gray spool. Okay, we have the white spool. Yes, I put these things down for you so that I can share this with you. Okay, as a beginner, you don't want any hitch as you work, you don't want any trouble, you don't want to start fighting with the machine. Of course, you make the machine faulty and then you bring in a repairer, they keep taking your money, and before you know, your confidence is still crushed. So imagine your confidence getting crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed, and I wonder how you're going to keep building a confidence that keeps getting crushed. So that is for the needles. All right, so the next one, you can talk about the fabric types. How do you even know the kind of fabric that you use a particular needle for? That is also foundation class. You must know your kinds of fabrics available in the market. You must even know what fabric suits what style. You know, you cannot want to sew a flowing gown and use a material like a calico material. It won't give you. You cannot want to sew a flowing gown and you go to take a denim material. It won't work. I hope you understand. So that is what this video is all about today. Telling you how to making sure your foundations are standing firm. All right, so that is that. I think we talked about needle, we've talked about threads, we talked about fabrics. Of course, we have accessories, we have appliques that you use and all of that. Even your ironing, there are some materials you must know. Okay, what temperature is best used when you're ironing this kind of materials, and all. By the time you do all this, then your foundation is firm. Then I tell you, you are good to go. So in our next video, I'll be mentioning to you the types of needles that will be used for several kinds of material. I'll be telling you the textures of these materials and giving you samples of what they look like. Okay, telling you what they look like. For those who are fashion designers, you'll be familiar with the names I'll be mentioning. All right, so that will help you know which needle is best for which. So do well to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, please click the notification button if you like what we are doing, and then as well tell us in the comment section what topics you would like us to be discussing, and we'll bring it right to you. Thank you so much for the watching, and see you in the next video. Thank you.